good evening, my beauty professionals. Thank you for listening to Ms. V's Real Beauty Talk. And tonight I want to talk about thinking dirty, but it's not the kind of think dirty that you might be thinking. It's actually an app called Think Dirty. And this was an app that I personally heard about at a teacher's conference. It was the AACS, which is American Association of Cosmetology Schools, CEA Conference for Educators, and CEA stands for Career Educators Alliance. It's a wonderful conference if you ever get a chance, if you're an educator in the beauty industry or wellness. You meet people from all over the country that own cosmetology schools, or they own spas, or they work in a cosmetology school. It's just amazing. Basically, the overall idea of the show is to motivate the educators so they can go back and motivate their students. And in this case, they introduced the Think Dirty app for us to incorporate in the classroom, like when you're teaching chemistry, and it gets them active and more excited about chemistry because you can scan your foundation, you can scan your perfume, your mascara, everything. So basically, I'm going to give you a short description of the app if you haven't heard of it. And what I've noticed lately is it has changed since I've first started using it. So I'm just going to describe those changes to you and tell you some negative reviews that I have found, although honestly it was hard for me to find any negative. So there's not a lot out there as far as like research and looking it up. Most of them were positive reviews, but I want to tell you about that and tell you about a couple of the products that I scan, just to kind of give you an idea of how the app works. So when I first started using the app, which was like in 2014, you could go on this app and you could scan your products. And if it wasn't in their database, you would type in the number there's a code on your products. You would type in the name of your product if you don't have the code, and they would store it in their database. So next time, if someone goes to scan that product, it would pull up. The app is free, although now they have what's called premium memberships. They didn't have that when I first started using the app. So there's a rating scale on this app. So for instance, let's say, I had scanned one of my perfumes that I had, and it was a number 9. So the toxicity scale is from 0 to 10. 0 being not toxic at all, 10 being the most toxic, right? And then between 0 to 4 would be the least toxic, and then 4 to about 6 or 7, that's midway, and then 8 to 10 is like up there, very toxic, right? So you would scan it, like my perfume was a number 9, and then it shows a list, an ingredient list that's in your product. So all the ingredients that are in green, they have a little number there, so each individual ingredient gets rated as well. But the green ingredients mean they're the least toxic. They're not toxic or bad for you, right? The yellow ingredients, and there's a number beside it, is midway. So you could think of it as like a neutral, because there's not enough information maybe that proves that it's toxic, but then it doesn't really show that it isn't toxic. So it's kind of just floating there in the middle, right? So it could be, could not be, but it's not going to do you great harm. So it's really up to you, the person, if you're going to use it, if you use that product or not. And then the red is the most toxic, and it'll tell you a number. Usually when they're really toxic, it's like a 9 or a 10. I don't think I've ever seen a 10 yet, though. Most of the time it's a 9. So the two most common ones that